Hello everybody, it's daily news time again with a proper setup, proper mics. You don't have to worry, we're not trying to do this off our phones anymore. We've upped the quality of the show for your viewing pleasure, and for your viewing pleasure we've brought Ross Charnley along.
Debatable.
I'm sure there's some people out there who like this. No? Okay, well let us know if you like a bit of Ross. But we've got some hot stories for you today. We've got a bit on Rafa Camacho, we've got some stuff on Felipe Anderson, some stuff on Gareth Bale, interestingly. Some really interesting stuff on David Neres from Ajax, and to finish a bit on James Rodriguez. So, packed show. We're going to come quick fast with it though, because we are here very late and we want to go home. But to start off, Liverpool have set a transfer valuation after Rafa Camacho refuses to sign a new contract. Liverpool look to sell £10 million rated Rafa Camacho this summer after the teenager turned down their offer of a new contract. The Portugal youth international only has 12 months remaining on his current deal, and has informed sporting director Michael Edwards that he doesn't intend to pen an extension. Now, what do you know of Rafa Camacho? We know that he's a right back, plays right wing for the under-23s team. He's come out publicly and sort of said, I want to play on the right wing, I'm not a right back, I'm an attacking player, and it just he's not been anywhere near the first team really, apart from that Wolves appearance, Ross. Do you think that moving him on is probably the best thing to do?
I mean, if you can get £10 million for him, I think a lot of Liverpool fans will be pretty happy with that for someone who's not really been involved in the first team. You know, I think he played a little bit for the Wolves away game in the FA Cup, obviously we were knocked out of.
Yeah.
He's made it very clear, as you just said, that he wants to play right wing.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to do that and try and get ahead of Mo Salah, then good luck to you, because he's not getting in. I think the drop-off we've seen in, you know, the front three, that has been significant so far this season. We want to improve on that. I think relying on someone as young as Rafa Camacho, as good as he is, and the promise that he shows, I think it's too big of a drop-off for me. He did come out with a little outburst on Instagram a couple of weeks ago and said, you know, whatever he said, I'm a right wing and not a right back, and he's been playing right wing for the 23s, as you've mentioned. There's two sides for it to me. I think that doing that on Instagram's gone about it the wrong way, in my opinion. Maybe he's been ill-advised or something like that, but I also kind of admire his aspirations. He wants to play first-team football. Yeah. Then fair play to you, but, you know, the level that Liverpool Football Club are playing at now, and the level of people that we require to be backups to Mo Salah or to come and help this first team is just huge. And I don't think it's fair to rely on someone like him who's very inexperienced. We've had the thing of, you know, we had no domestic cup runs last season, or this season, sorry. So where's he going to get his game time? And if someone who's not happy to sit on the bench, he doesn't want to be there, then fine, fair enough. I kind of understand that. Move on. Yeah. And he's got 12 months left on his contract. £10 million that's a lot of money. Yeah,
I'm in the ballpark with you, I think, mate. I know we haven't seen much of him. He was unfair to judge him from his performance against Wolves. Obviously, he was in a complete mismatched team where nobody had chemistry in that game. But he has got, for the under-23s, Premier League 2, Division 1 that they play in the under-23s, 8 goals and 5 assists in 14 games. So you clearly see he's an attacking player, but that's in a league that's light years beneath.
He did all right in that Wolves game, to be fair. And it was a poor performance from a lot of people, including some senior players in there. Yeah. You know, obviously Lovren goes off early, so he's playing alongside a 16-year-old. Yeah. It's centre-half, and Fabinho, who's obviously a midfielder, and he has played at centre-back before. Yeah. But, you know, you can't expect too much from him from that little glimpse. He did show signs of promise, but...
Yeah, I agree. I think £10 million, there's the debate obviously with Harry Wilson, that do we keep and sell him? You can see that Harry Wilson in the Championship, with this debate whether his level is good enough for Liverpool, you know, not let alone a guy who really, we don't know where he fits in our team to start. He wouldn't even get in above Shaqiri on that right wing, let alone Mo Salah. And we've shown at the right back department, we've let Nathaniel Klein go, you know, a guy who's clearly a very experienced Premier League right back, and he was surplus to requirements. So I don't think there's really a future for Rafa Camacho at Liverpool, and I wish him all the best if he does move, when he does move on to another club. Let us know in the comments if you've seen any of Rafa Camacho. Do you think that he'll be sorely missed, or are you in mine and Ross's boat? But we'll move on to a very interesting link here. Apparently we've been linked with Felipe Anderson, according to TalkSport, who was citing the Daily Mails.
Never cite either of those.
Yeah, this is a very, take this with a pinch of salt, well, the biggest bag of salt you can find, but we're here to report on the news and the rumours. So, claiming, TalkSport citing the Daily Mail, that Liverpool are reportedly weighing up a move for West Ham midfielder Felipe Anderson. The Brazilian, who joined the Hammers for a club record fee of around £40 million last summer, enjoyed an impressive first season in England. And then it goes on to say, in the depths of the article, the Mail's actual report seems fairly speculative and does not suggest that the Reds have had talks about a move for the playmaker. Another Brazilian international with a burgeoning reputation, they write, Anderson offers more of a Premier League proven option for Liverpool. And this is, for me, Ross, a case of
bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's big time smelly bullshit, and I think that we're going to be linked with a plethora of attacking-minded forwards. Obviously, we all know that we need maybe a fourth world-class player, or at least a fourth very capable forward. Philippe Anderson's got 9 goals, 4 assists in 36 games, but as the article states, he was West Ham's record signing last summer. I don't think there's any chance they're going to let him go this early, and it's one of those links that you look at and you just think, why? I'm sure you don't think there's anything more in that, do you?
Not really. You can see why the links have been made. Obviously, he's an attacking player. It's pretty obvious. It's going to happen all through the summer now.
Yeah.
Going, you just said it yourself. Any attacking player who's half decent, Liverpool need that position.
Yeah.
That fills in the gaps for all these newspapers and stuff. Having said that, though, I do like him as a player, and I think that's sort of the standard that I want to look at when I said before with Rafa Camacho. You look at the bench and you go, okay, Sadio Mane's knackered because he's run around for 70 minutes, or Mo Salah, let's bring him on.
Yeah.
If you're a defender, you've had Mane running at you for that amount of time, you're knackered, and then you see Anderson coming on, you go, Jesus Christ, give me a break. I think he provides that attacking threat. He loves to run at people, similar to Mane. But again, like you said, he's been at West Ham for a year, record sign, £40 million. What fee are you talking there for that? And to me, it's just bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know. What do you think? Do you think there's anything in that? Have you seen anything? This is just stuff that we found perusing the internet and looking deep diving into the rumours. And
is Tom on the comments?
Are you on the comments, Tom?
No.
Yeah. He's at his post, really ready for these comments. But let us know any questions you've got, by the way, because we'll take some questions at the end of the show, whether it's regarding Anderson or any part of the things that we mentioned foregoing. Now, a really interesting one for me is Gareth Bale. Now, he's not directly been linked to Liverpool. I think probably the most likely link for him is Manchester United, but it's been cited in a lot of different articles that he's coming to the Premier League, coming back to the Premier League to potentially one of the top 6, and that's Arsenal, Tottenham, United. Liverpool have been thrown in the mix there. An interesting thing that the Echo did, they ran a poll, which has received over 25,000 votes now, I checked, and they asked a simple question: do you want Liverpool to sign Gareth Bale? And the answer, with a 66% of fans voting, was no. That was really interesting to me because you can look at it 2 ways. I think that he's past it. He's a guy that's very injury prone, really doesn't fit what Liverpool want. But then you could look at it and say he's a very experienced option off the bench if that's what we needed. What do you take on this? Would you have Gareth Bale at Liverpool?
No, I wouldn't. There's a couple of reasons why I wouldn't. I don't think he's past it. I think he's still a quality footballer, and he's kind of out of favour in that picture that they painted of Madrid, because he's not Ronaldo, and he's kind of lived in his shadow.
Yeah.
He's not been a fan's favourite over there, and he's had his injury problems. I think everyone's aware of that. But the reason I wouldn't have him at Liverpool is that you look at his wages that he's on now.
Yeah.
And I think the quotes that came out, I don't know if they were true or not. He thinks Zidane wasn't in favour of him. He's like, I'll just stay here and I'll play golf then, or whatever it is. And I think that will completely destroy the model that Liverpool have developed over the past 2-3 years, and they've done amazing at it. With Jurgen, Michael Edwards, and the backroom team there, of this incentive scheme that they got for players, and we've seen obviously the front 3, Robbo, Trent and stuff. If you're doing well, we'll give you a new contract. Bale's not going to leave for £100,000 less, and he's probably not going to start either. Yeah. So what's the point in doing that? And I said you just skew the whole thing. If he comes in and we give him a load of money, because I don't think it will happen, and you've got the likes of people that don't had a contract extension, or people that are on less money when they started, and going, well, he's on more money.
United issue.
Yeah, you leave yourself in a situation of Manchester United and what stuff with Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in Liverpool's interest to go and do that, and I don't think Klopp's a huge fan of like the Galacticos thing that Madrid have, like just star signing, the marketing side, which United do as well. Like, I'll get him because he'll sell some shirts.
Marquee players.
Yeah, it's not worked out for him. I think Klopp just wants people who are going to knuckle down and work hard, and that's why we're so close as a unit now, and we're building a squad. I think if you do that, it would just ruin all the work that we've done so far.
I think you nailed it, mate. I couldn't say it better myself. But let us know in the comments. We'll do our own little live poll, if it's yes or no's. Would Gareth Bale be a signing you would want to see at Liverpool, with him probably coming back to the Premier League? Let us know in the comments now, and we'll
Tom's going to count all the yeses and nos, aren't you, Tom?
In live time.
Yes. There's one.
There you go. But now, to the crux of the show, the biggest story that's broke recently is that Liverpool are facing competition from Atletico Madrid for David Neres of Ajax. Now, this is from the Mail Online, and I'll read you the crux of the article. Liverpool and Chelsea target David Neres is top of Atletico Madrid's transfer wish list this summer, according to reports. 22-year-old forward is shot to prominence this season after playing a starring role in Ajax's incredible campaign at home and in Europe. Liverpool and Chelsea are among the teams believed to be chasing the Brazilian, but now AS claim they face competition from Atletico Madrid. I think the competition factor's irrelevant here. You know, I think that happens with every signing. But if the report is true and we are in for David Neres, that's a huge signing for me. That's a huge sort of target that I'd really love to see Liverpool go for. Obviously, we know how good that Ajax team has been. There's a clutch of players in there. Obviously, Frankie de Jong gone to Real Madrid, but De Ligt, Neres, Ziyech, another one. That team's probably going to be extrapolated and gone and been sent across the globe to various different teams. So it's good to see our name in the hat there. If you don't know David Neres, I'm sure most of you do. He's got 8 goals, 8 assists in 29 games in the Eredivisie this season. He's only 22 years old, and he plays on the right wing / centre forward / central attacking midfield role. So he's very versatile, is what we like. Is this the sort of forward you think Liverpool should be targeting, as opposed to someone like Gareth Bale?
Potentially, yeah. For the opposite reason why I wouldn't have Bale. Obviously, he's young, he'd be cheap-ish compared to Gareth Bale, and you know he's got the age on him there. I think you have to make the most of this Ajax team getting picked apart and kind of Barcelona have had first dibs on a couple of them, and there's rumours that City are after a few, and other top teams, and rightly so. They're a very good side, and they were very unfortunate not to get to the Champions League final. Versatility is the first thing that springs out to me there. It kind of like all signals we want someone to be able to come in for Bobby, Mo or Marnie in that sense, and I think you get that. And the other thing as well is like from a business perspective, and you probably shouldn't look at it like this, if he's 22 and you get him relatively cheap, his sell-on value is still probably going to be good. He's probably got that reputation from Ajax that'll probably carry a bit of weight with it. Yeah. If he doesn't work out, we go sell him on. So, and if he does work out and he's 22 and you got him there for like another 5 years with the rest of this team that are all signed long-term contracts. Yeah, that's really good points there, mate. The interesting thing for me is Chelsea's mentioned. I know Ben's a massive fan of him as well, actually.
Yeah. He's a really hot prospect. But Chelsea mentioned, I'm pretty sure, unless anything's changed, they've got a transfer ban. I don't know why I keep seeing these things. Chelsea, you can want the players that you want, you can't physically sign them.
Do you know what happened? Chelsea's Twitter account, they got the transfer ban, and the Twitter account shared rumours of Chelsea links the next day. If you don't know what's going on.
It seems like all the Chelsea, clearly the board and Chelsea fans are sure that they're not getting this ban. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I think of course. But I think if Atletico Madrid, we are in direct competition with them, I think we are a bigger club than Atletico Madrid, unless...
They might have a bit of money knocking about Atletico Madrid as well, because they're selling a few players.
Yeah, no, I don't think the money argument, I think we can both afford David Neres, but I think it's a case of, say, if he wants to go and play in sunny Spain, fair enough, under a great manager equally in Diego Simeone, but if we're talking pure sort of what Liverpool can offer, I think our prospects are higher than Atletico Madrid's. You know, Atletico finished second, I believe, in the League.
La Liga.
I get Liga BBVA stuck in my head as well because of FIFA. They change that all the time. But
stop playing FIFA.
Yeah, good point. But obviously Liverpool, I think, are a hotter prospect. And the thing for me is, like you said there with the 5-year contract thing, David Neres is a kid that you can bring in. Clearly got so much talent already, but in those 5 years, whilst we've got Salah, Firmino, Mane in the team, you can learn, you can nurture, and in that period where eventually we will have to let go of these players in the hopefully not near future, you've got a guy there who's come in and learnt the ropes, who's learnt and built his way up into the team. I think that's the sort of signing that we should be going for. Obviously, Gareth Bale's 29. He's a guy that's what is in his peak / not in his peak, depending on how you see Gareth Bale, but this kid is...
29's peak.
Yeah, it is, but then Gareth Bale was so good when he was at Tottenham, and then his first few seasons in Madrid were fantastic.
I just meant in general.
Yeah, I know, but obviously people peak at different times. But the point, you just get yourself a co-host who argues with you. But I like that. Okay. Hot debate. But no, my point is that I think we need young, promising talent that we can nurture, because I don't think, unless you're paying 150 million, 200 million pounds for world-class signings to replace.
If you're after the first team, that's what you do, don't you?
Yeah, and if you're talking sort of Timo Werner sort of levels, Paulo Dybala levels, but I think this guy would be a really good option to have in and out of the team. I really like the way he plays football. He's a really gifted player. So David Neres would be up there with sort of one of my preferred signings, along with sort of Memphis Depay that we mentioned yesterday. So let us know. David Neres, is he the man for Liverpool? And we'll take any questions you've got on the guy at the end. But the final story we've got regards James Rodriguez, a guy who's linked to the Premier League since he pretty much left Real Madrid. Apparently he's got to make a transfer decision ahead of potential Premier League move at the end of this week, according to the Mirror. It is expected that Rodriguez will move on from Madrid, with Zinedine Zidane planning a huge squad overhaul this summer. The French boss doesn't see the playmaker as part of his long-term plans, and this has alerted the attention of Premier League clubs. Liverpool, Manchester United and Arsenal are all interested in bringing the 27-year-old to England, but they face competition. He scored 15 goals and provided 20 assists in 67 appearances in all competitions, helping Bayern win the Bundesliga title in both his seasons. Rodriguez is a strange one. I think we spoke about Rodriguez probably last summer and this summer now. I think he's destined. He's probably definitely going to leave this summer. Obviously, his loan is ending with Bayern Munich. He said himself he'd like to go back to Real Madrid, but Zidane has said, "You're not part of my plans anymore. You're going to have to move on." Very likely that he comes to the Premier League. A, do you see him as a player that Liverpool would go for, and B, would you want him in our team?
I'm on the fence on this one. I have concerns because I wonder why Zidane doesn't want him.
Yeah.
And that might be to a style of play or just preference. I don't know. But then he's gone to Bayern Munich and his return there, 15 goals and 20 assists in 67 appearances. He's very good. Yeah. Why aren't Bayern going, yep, we'll have a bit of that?
Yeah.
I know that's a concern for me. And obviously the price tag on top of it, it's not my money, I shouldn't really care. But you're thinking, I don't want Liverpool to jeopardise further signings by going, actually, same as the Bale stuff of going, I'm going to spunk £60-70 million on this fella here.
Yeah. Again,
who's not going to play regular first team football.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, he's played in La Liga, he's played in the Bundesliga, he's won a lot of trophies, played with some incredible footballers. He does bring something to you. He brings quality. You know, he's the World Cup that he had that put him onto the level that he was at was absolutely incredible. Yeah. But I think for me it's too much of a risk. Shouldn't care. Like I said, it's not my money, but I have reservations why it's not worked out for him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, mate. I think if you're looking at the two stark contrasts I've just mentioned in David Neres and James Rodriguez, whilst one is 5 years older, 5 years more experienced in both a Madrid and a Bayern Munich side, I'm still inclined to go for David Neres. Like, because of that.
It's the risk factor, isn't it? If you're spending, like before we said with Neres, you spend 20-30 million pounds on him, it doesn't work out, you could probably still get a lot of that back. Yeah. Whereas you get Rodriguez, 60-70 million pound. Yeah. I've just made that feel, by the way. That's what it is. And he's at 27 years old. It stays for a season, he's then 28. You're saying, you know, it's peak or, you know, post-peak. Yeah. You're getting that money back from him isn't FSG's model, it's not Klopp's model. It just doesn't fit for me.
Yeah, and I think the point you make about, obviously, if Zidane doesn't want him, obviously it was a different manager when he signed to Madrid in 2014. But he's been under a few managers now. He's been shipped out on loan to Bayern Munich for 2 years, and Bayern Munich don't want James Rodriguez. If you've got that good of a return, and people still aren't biting their hand off to sign you, there's got to be something there that sort of says, well, why? And I think that's because that might be something that...
And wages again for him will be ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't see us doing sort of that style of marquee signing. To me, I think he's got... Maybe Manchester United. I think Manchester United are more inclined to go for Gareth Bale, but Arsenal have been linked with him for quite a few years now. You know, they, especially with the Özil situation right now, whether what they do with him, he's a guy that could come into that central attacking midfield role and sort of hopefully be a like-for-like replacement for Özil. I think Özil's obviously a much better player, but really interesting to see what happens with Rodriguez, because I think he probably will move to the Premier League. Probably not Liverpool, but either way, it'd be exciting to see where he goes. But that has been the roundup. Tom, is there any little brief questions for us?
So, no one wants Bale, or like the overwhelming majority don't want Bale.
Yeah.
So. Bob Jones says people acting as though Ziyech would want to come and sit on the bench have some sense.
It's a good point.
Yeah, it's a very good point, mate. And that's the thing with this Ajax team. They're all the names that you mentioned before are all so hot prospects. They know that in their own ability that they can go and get into most first teams. You know, De Ligt's going to be going in and taking over. I forget the guy who plays next to PK, because he will probably be coming in and playing with PK, first team starter. A guy like Ziyech, with a guy with a £25 million release clause, with the return that he's had this season, you'd expect him to be like, I've got to come and play first team. That's got to be the first part of my clause.
I think it will be first team. No, I'm not saying that Mo and Salah wouldn't start every game. Yeah. I think we're not buying people to come and sit on the bench. I think we're buying a team. So when I mentioned domestic cups before, okay, you can have games there, but then you can have like 2-3 games in a week, which we've seen where we're playing 3 games in 7 days. Yeah. But you can afford to rest Mo and bring the quality in there and go, Mo, you're sitting out this one. Therefore, you get more out of Mo or Mane, whoever it is. Yeah. And go, listen, you sit this one out. I know you're our best 3 players. Yeah. But you come in, have a little rest, and you bring him on. Or like I said before, play 70 minutes, game's done. Get Mane off, let him have a rest, or Mo, whoever it is, and get him on, or vice versa. We've been so lucky with injuries the past 2 years, with those 3 in suspension, and Mane was out after he got sent off against City. Yeah. But we missed Bobby a little bit towards the end of the season, and they play a lot of football, like the most out of like majority of the team. I think Van Dijk's up there as well, and possibly Robbo.
Yeah.
But like, they need rest, and the more opportunities you get to rest them, the more you get out of them in the long term, which brings more opportunities for Ziyech or someone else to come in.
Yeah, I agree, and I think another thing, sort of like, say if you're looking at if Ziyech could go and start for Arsenal or come and play half the games in Liverpool season,
He might go to Arsenal.
He might do, but then equally, what have Arsenal? Oh, quick also in the Europa League this season. But when you're looking at prospects, Liverpool can offer way more than what Arsenal can. They can match his wage structure. They can pay the same amount of money as him. Oh God, there's some guy who's just walked into our room, some random man. Go away. But he can match that similar style of wage structure. Everything that Arsenal can offer in the financial department, I think that Liverpool can also do. And like I say, if you want to come and be in the Champions League, if you want to go and push for a Premier League title, we're the only team closest to City who can do that. And I think what we need to pay attention to is, I think we undersell ourselves sometimes. Some players should be biting our hand off to come and sit on Liverpool's bench. We're not at this lower level. We're not fighting for fourth. We're challenging for Premier Leagues. We're in back-to-back Champions League finals. Players should be looking at Liverpool and thinking, I'd love to play for them. We shouldn't be saying, I'm sorry, you've got to sit on our bench. That should be a privilege. But that's just how I feel now. But thank you very much for your question anyway, mate. What else have we got?
Last one, green super chat from DXSH Tempers, thank you. He said, would love it if we signed David Neres, but if we were going from Memphis to Pi, how would you feel about it because of his mank past? Love the midfield.
I'll let you take this one. You love the Pi.
I do really like Memphis Depay. This is something that I think a lot of people get caught up in that Memphis Depay was the first generation, well, actually the second generation of signings that came to Manchester United. Obviously, after David Moyes, they appointed Louis van Gaal, who brought Memphis Depay over, obviously having connections with him, being the international manager of the Netherlands at the time. I think that if you're looking and you're judging Manchester United signings in the last 6 years, you've really got to take into account that it's probably not the individual player's fault. You know, they've been under, of course, Fergie, then it was Mourinho, then it was Van Gaal, then it was Mourinho, and then it was now Solskjaer. They've signed about 20 plus really good players in that time. Depay, one of many, and most of them have flopped. And is that the fault of the individual player, or is that the fault of the way they were managed under different managers? Manchester United are a mess of a football club. They're way behind every other team in the top six, and they have been for the last 6 years. I think that it's harsh to judge Memphis Depay on his Manchester United background. If you just look at his career for Lyon, his career for the Netherlands this season, he's been really, really good. I think he's up there with Lyon's best player at the minute, and I'd love to sign him. I think that he's in a really good place in his career at the minute. He's about 26, 27, I believe. So I think he'd be a really good option, obviously, with having the chemistry with Wijnaldum and Van Dijk. I like what he's about. I think he's a realistic signing for us. I've seen £35 million thrown about, £50 million. If we're going to get a guy who's going to be another forward, who can be in and around that team, like a David Neres, like a James Rodriguez, for example, like a Ziyech, like we talked about a minute ago, I think, for me, Depay would be right at the top of that list. I don't know about you, Ross.
He'd definitely be up there, yeah. I think he's proved he's gone away, didn't work out for Manchester United, and that's a good mentality to have in some players sometimes. I think you've seen people that come to the Premier League, gone somewhere else, and then they completely dipped off the face of the earth. I would find it dead funny, the fact that Gini Wijnaldum has been posting Instagram and Twitter pictures for the past 2 weeks, tapping him up and just making it blatantly obvious that we might be signing him. That's also a good thing, the fact that if you've got someone that's got a rapport and stuff, and it might be the reason why he never went at Manchester United, that he's got Van Dijk and Gini Wijnaldum there, that he plays with on an international level. That helps people settle in and bed in when you go from wherever he was before. United, Lyon, wasn't it? They went back to.
So he went to Lyon, but he came from another French team, Lille, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And he's gone to United and he's had no one to kind of do that with. And it's different countries. We've seen it happen with Liverpool players now, and that Klopp keeps them away from the first team to let them bed into tactics and stuff. He said Man United are a mess of a club. Maybe he didn't have that. Maybe I get it being in the back of people's minds. I think he needs to play for Manchester United. I don't want him, but I just think he was only there for a year, whatever it was. I think he just learned to move on, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And there's loads of players that have come and gone. Di Maria came, was poor, went to PSG, was really good again. Mo Salah went to Chelsea, was poor, came to Liverpool, was one of the best front three in the world. To judge a player on his previous club's ability, I don't see it like that, but I can completely see why you'd be sceptical.
I think it's the fact that it was United.
And the fact it was United, of course. But wouldn't it be the best thing if, and I completely believe that this could happen and it will happen, not the transfer, but if he did come to Liverpool, that Klopp would get the absolute best out of him. You know, I think he'd be playing in a team that really thrives, plays excellent attacking football, plays to his strengths. So yeah, Depay would be a guy that I'd love to sign.
You'd also have someone who's had an extra motivating factor when we played Manchester United to go and prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine
just go and bang a hat-trick.
Imagine that. If you signed Depay and he beats Manchester United in a derby, it'd be worth his transfer fee alone for that. But thank you very much for your questions. Thank you very much for watching, guys. That has been the Daily Transfer News. Thank you very much, Ross, for joining me.
It's all right.
We've got a little thing to plug for you. Tom, what is it we're plugging?
No, I'll tell you.
Oh, Ross is on the ball.
Right where we're sat now, earlier this week, we had Jamie Webster and Kieran Molyneux from Boss Night in to discuss, Boss Night, their lives, Kiev, and he played some tunes for us as well. So we finished watching us now, if you've already finished. On YouTube, there's a video out now, and if you want an exclusive director's cut over on the website, that's out now as well.
So yeah.
And you start your first month, it's completely free.
At the Redmen
If you don't like it, just quit.
Yeah, you get to see the Champions League final stuff for free.
Oh, we've got loads more content built
stuff.
up United as well.
So much stuff. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Drop a like on the video, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow with another Daily News.